Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins everyone. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most sought after coins among collectors, the 1964D Lincoln penny. You might be surprised to hear this, but this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a staggering amount of money, up to $1.6 million. You heard that right. In this video, we'll uncover the fascinating history behind the 1964D Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, and how you can identify if you have one of these rare, high-value coins. So let's dive in. The history of the Lincoln penny. Before we get into the value, let's take a quick look at the history of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner, to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The coin originally featured two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots, a design that lasted until 1958. In 1959, the design on the reverse side was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, which was created by Frank Gasparro. This new design would remain on the reverse of the Lincoln penny for nearly 5 decades, until it was replaced by the shield design in 2010. But today, we're focusing on a special penny from 1964, specifically the 1964D Lincoln penny. Why the 1964D Lincoln penny is special? The 1964D Lincoln penny is primarily known for being a part of the series that commemorated the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. But what makes the 1964D penny so unique is not just its historical significance, but also the rarity of certain examples of this penny. While the vast majority of 1964D pennies are worth only a few cents, a small number of these coins have been discovered with an extremely rare and valuable error, the double die variety. The double die error, a game changer for the 1964D Lincoln penny. The 1964D Lincoln penny, in particular, is famous for a double die error that occurred during the minting process. The error happens when a coin is struck by the die more than once, but in slightly different positions. This causes the design to appear doubled on certain parts of the coin. In the case of the 1964D penny, the doubling is most noticeable on the obverse, or front side, of the coin, specifically on the word Liberty and the date 1964. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is not properly aligned, resulting in a design that appears blurry or doubled in certain areas. For the 1964D penny, this can be seen in the letters and numbers, which appear with an extra line or shadow, giving the coin a unique look. These double die error coins are incredibly rare and are highly sought after by collectors. Finding one of these coins can make you a small fortune, as they can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. How to identify the 1964D double die penny? So, how do you know if your 1964D Lincoln penny is one of the rare double die error coins that could be worth a fortune? The key is to closely examine the lettering and the date. Start by looking at the word Liberty and the date 1964 on the obverse of the coin. If you notice any doubling or extra thickness in these areas, then you might have a double die error penny. The doubling typically appears as a shadow or extra line on the edges of the letters or numbers. This can be subtle, so it's important to carefully inspect the coin. For the best chance of spotting the error, use a magnifying glass, jeweler's loupe, or a high-quality microscope. A close inspection will reveal any doubling, which may appear on the left side of the numbers or letters. It's not always obvious, so be sure to take your time when examining the coin. If you notice clear signs of doubling, you may have a valuable piece of numismatic history in your hands. Why the 1964D Lincoln penny is worth so much? Now that we know about the double die error, let's talk about why the 1964D Lincoln penny with this error is worth so much money. While most pennies from 1964 are worth only their face value, 1 cent, those with the double die error are considered highly valuable. The rarity of these error coins, combined with their historical significance, has made them a top target for serious coin collectors. The value of a 1964D double die penny can vary depending on its condition. Coins that are well preserved and have minimal wear are worth far more than those that have been heavily circulated. For example, high-grade examples of the 1964D double die penny can sell for tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the most exceptional examples are those in near-perfect condition have sold for an incredible $1.6 million at auction. How much is your 1964D Lincoln penny worth? If you think you've found a 1964D double die penny, the next step is to get it professionally graded. The value of a coin is largely determined by its condition, and coins that are graded as mint state or uncirculated are worth far more than those that have been worn down by circulation. Grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are the most reputable organizations to handle coin grading. Once graded, you'll have a clearer picture of your coin's value. Coins that are graded in mint condition can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if you have a particularly rare example, it could sell for up to $1.6 million. Keep in mind that the market for rare coins can fluctuate, but the 1964D double die penny is widely recognized as one of the most valuable pennies in existence. The search for the 1964D double die penny. So, if you're actively hunting for valuable coins, keep an eye out for the 1964D Lincoln penny. While most of them are worth just 1 cent, the rare double die era examples can be a game changer. They are highly prized by coin collectors, and finding one could lead to a life-changing windfall. The key is to examine every 1964D penny you come across carefully and look for the telltale signs of doubling on the word liberty and the date 1964. Remember, the more closely you inspect each coin, the better your chances of finding a rare treasure. If you do find one, be sure to have it professionally graded and authenticated, as this will help you determine its true value. Conclusion. To sum up, the 1964D Lincoln penny might seem like just another modern coin, but it has the potential to be one of the most valuable pennies out there if you find one with the rare double die era. These era coins are incredibly valuable, with some examples selling for as much as $1.6 million. So, if you have a 1964D penny, or if you come across one in a collection, take a closer look. It could be the coin that changes your life. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about rare coins, valuable finds, and everything you need to know about numismatics. Good luck with your coin hunting, and happy collecting. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins from the 1970s, the 1973 Lincoln penny. Now, you might think that a penny from the early 70s is just another common coin. But wait until you hear this, some of these pennies are worth as much as $1.5 million. Yes, you read that correctly. In this video, we're going to explore the history behind the 1973 Lincoln penny, why it has a place in the world of rare coins, and what makes it so valuable. Stick around as we uncover what could be one of the most lucrative finds in your coin collection. The history of the Lincoln penny. To understand why the 1973 Lincoln penny is so special, we need to take a look at the history of the coin itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the legacy of President Abraham Lincoln. The coin originally featured 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing the country's agricultural heritage. This design was used until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse side, a change that would remain for decades. By 1973, the Lincoln penny had been in circulation for over 60 years, and the design on the reverse side still featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which had been in place since 1959. The 1973 penny was a part of the same series that was used throughout the 1960s and early 70s, with little to distinguish it from other pennies in circulation. But this is where it gets interesting, as it turns out, certain 1973 pennies can be worth far more than their 1 cent face value. The 1973 Lincoln penny and its rare variations. For most people, the 1973 Lincoln penny is just a typical copper coin from the early 1970s, worth no more than 1 cent. But, like with many coins, there are rare variations and minting errors that can significantly increase the value of coin. The most valuable 1973 pennies are not the standard ones, but rather those that feature an error as the 1973 double die obverse penny. The 1973 double die obverse penny, a rare and valuable coin. The 1973 double die penny is one of the most sought-after error coins in the market. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck twice by the same die, but the die shifts between strikes. This results in a design where parts of the coin appear doubled, especially in the lettering and numbers. For the 1973 Lincoln penny, the most noticeable doubling occurs on the obverse outer side of the coin that features President Lincoln's portrait. When you closely examine a 1973 double die penny, you'll see that the lettering and numbers, particularly the words Liberty and the phrase In God We Trust, are doubled. The doubling is often most apparent in the upper parts of the letters and along the edges of the numbers. It may not be immediately obvious to the naked eye, but when you use a magnifying glass or microscope, the doubling becomes clear. Double die errors are relatively rare, and coins that exhibit these errors in pristine condition are highly valuable to collectors. The 1973 double die obverse penny, especially if it is well preserved and uncirculated, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. In some rare instances, these coins have sold for an astonishing amount, as much as $1.5 million at auction. How to identify the 1973 double die penny? If you think you've found a 1973 double die penny, the next step is to closely examine the coin. The most obvious place to look is at the word Liberty and the phrase In God We Trust on the obverse. If you notice any doubling, such as a shadow or an extra line along the edges of the letters, you may be holding a valuable coin. To get the best view of the doubling, use a magnifying tool, like a jeweler's loupe or a digital microscope. Examine the coin under good lighting and pay close attention to the details. In addition to the letters, also look at the date. The numbers 1973 may also show signs of doubling. When inspecting your coin, remember that not every 1973 penny will have this error. Double die coins are rare, and finding one requires a keen eye and some patience. If you suspect you found a double die penny, it's important to inspect it carefully and take your time. The doubling may be subtle, so don't rush through the examination. How much is the 1973 double die penny worth? Now, let's talk about what this error coin can actually fetch on the open market. A typical 1973 Lincoln penny is worth just 1 cent, but if you have the rare double die obverse variety, your penny could be worth significantly more. A high-quality 1973 double die penny, especially one that is uncirculated or in mint condition, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. However, the most valuable examples of this coin have been known to sell for as much as $1.5 million. It's important to note that the value of these coins is heavily dependent on their condition. Coins in pristine condition, with little to no wear, will command a premium price. If you find a 1973 double die penny that is in good shape, it could potentially be worth far more than you expect. Even lower-grade examples of this error coin can still fetch thousands of dollars, so it's worth taking a close look at every 1973 penny you come across. Getting your 1973 double die penny graded. If you believe you've found a 1973 double die penny, the next step is to get the coin professionally graded. Grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are the gold standard for evaluating and authenticating rare coins. These services will assess the condition of your coin, verify whether it is a true double die error, and assign it a grade. Once graded, your coin's value will become much clearer. High-grade coins with the double die error can fetch substantial sums at auction, so it's important to get an accurate assessment of its worth. Coins with the double die error have been known to sell for prices ranging from a few $1,000s to $1.5 million, depending on the condition and rarity of the error. The 1973 Lincoln Penny, a great investment opportunity. If you're a coin collector or an investor, the 1973 Lincoln Penny could be an excellent addition to your collection. The rarity of the double die error and the potential for a substantial return make this coin an attractive option for those looking to invest in numismatics. Even if you don't find a double die penny, it's always a good idea to keep an eye out for rare coins like this one, and you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem. Conclusion. In conclusion, the 1973 Lincoln Penny might seem like just another ordinary penny, but when it comes with the rare double die error, it becomes a coin worth a small fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1973 double die obverse penny is a coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. These era coins are highly sought after by collectors, and in perfect condition, they can fetch as much as $1.5 million. So, next time you come across a 1973 Lincoln Penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. It could very well be worth much more than you think. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on rare coins, valuable finds, and everything you need to know about the exciting world of numismatics. Happy collecting, and good luck finding that $1 million penny. Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most intriguing coins from the 1960s and the 1969 Lincoln Penny. This seemingly ordinary penny might just be the treasure you're looking for. You might think, it's just another penny. But hold on, some 1969 pennies are worth a staggering amount of money, up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. In this video, we'll dive into the history of the 1969 Lincoln Penny, uncover why it's so valuable, and explore how you can tell if you have one of these rare and expensive coins in your collection. So, let's get started. A quick history of the Lincoln Penny. To understand why the 1969 Lincoln Penny is so special, let's first take a quick look at the history of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln Penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it became the first U.S. coin to feature a portrait of a sitting president. Initially, the coin featured a reverse design with two stalks of wheat, representing America's agricultural heritage. This design, called the wheat cent, was used from 1909 until 1958. In 1959, the design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This would be the design used for the next several decades, including on the 1969 penny. The 1969 Lincoln Penny, minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, was part of this era of coins. While the vast majority of 1969 pennies are worth just 1 cent, there is one particular variety that stands out as being incredibly valuable. What makes this coin so special is a rare and highly sought-after error that occurred during its minting at the 1969s double die obverse. The 1969s double die obverse, the holy grail for coin collectors. The most valuable 1969 Lincoln pennies are those that feature the double die obverse error. This error occurs when a coin is struck twice by a die, but the die shifts slightly between strikes. As a result, the design appears doubled, especially in certain areas like the lettering or numbers. For the 1969 Lincoln Penny, the doubling is most noticeable on the obverse, which is the side of the coin featuring President Lincoln's portrait and the word Liberty. If you closely examine a 1969s Lincoln Penny with this double die error, you'll see noticeable doubling in the word Liberty and the date 1969. The doubling typically appears on the upper parts of the letters and along the edges of the numbers. This effect is often subtle, so you'll need to look carefully, but when you spot it, you'll know you've found something special. The 1969s double die obverse penny is considered one of the most valuable coins in the world. It's incredibly rare and has become a sought-after collector's item. Coins with this error have been known to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some of the best examples have fetched as much as $1.7 million at auction. How to identify a 1969s double die penny. Now that we know how valuable a 1969s double die penny can be, The next question is, how can you identify this rare coin? To spot the double die error, you need to closely examine the obverse of the penny A, specifically the word liberty and the date 1969. When looking at the word liberty, you'll notice that the letters appear doubled, with a shadow or extra thickness along the edges of each letter. The doubling is most noticeable in the upper part of the letters. Similarly, the date 1969 will also show signs of doubling, particularly on the numbers 9 and 6. These doubled features are what make the coin so valuable. To help identify the error, you'll need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Under magnification, the doubling will become much more obvious. You might also want to use a microscope or a digital camera to get a closer look. If you find significant doubling in the areas mentioned, you could be holding a coin that is worth a small fortune. How much is a 1969 double die penny worth? So, how much could your 1969 double die penny be worth? The value of these coins can vary depending on their condition, but the most well-preserved examples are worth the most. In some cases, 1969 double die pennies have sold for up to $1.7 million at auction. While most of these coins will not fetch that kind of price, even coins in decent condition can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. For example, a 1969 double die penny in good condition could easily be worth around $100,000 or more, depending on the level of doubling and the overall condition of the coin. The better the condition A with fewer signs of wear, the higher the value. If the coin is in mint state and has minimal circulation wear, it can fetch a much higher price. Even a lower grade example of the 1969 double die penny can still be worth thousands of dollars, so it's definitely worth checking any 1969 pennies you find for this rare error. If you have one of these coins, it could be a valuable piece of numismatic history. Getting your 1969 double die penny graded. If you think you've found a 1969 double die penny, the next step is to get it professionally graded. Coin grading is a crucial part of determining the value of a coin, as the condition of the coin greatly affects its worth. The two most reputable grading services are PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies are experts at evaluating coins and will assess your penny's condition, authenticity, and rarity. Once your coin is graded, you'll have a clear understanding of its value. If it turns out to be a high-grade 1969 double die penny, you could be looking at a significant return on your investment. The market for rare coins. The market for rare coins, including the 1969 double die penny, has been growing steadily over the years. Numismatics is a popular hobby for collectors and investors alike, and rare coins like this one are highly sought after. As more people become aware of the value of these coins, the demand for them increases, which in turn drives up their value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1969 double die penny, it could not only be a valuable addition to your collection, but also a potentially great investment. Over time, the value of these rare error coins is likely to continue rising, especially as more collectors and investors begin to realize their true worth. Conclusion. In conclusion, the 1969 Lincoln penny might look like just another copper coin from the late 1960s, but if it features the double die obverse error, it could be worth a lot more than you think, in some cases, as much as $1.7 million. These coins are incredibly rare and highly valuable, and they're considered some of the most sought-after items in the world of numismatics. So, if you have a 1969 penny, take a closer look. Check for doubling in the word liberty and the date 1969. If you find it, you could be holding a coin worth a small fortune. Be sure to get it professionally graded to determine its true value. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about rare coins, valuable finds, and everything you need to know about numismatics. Best of luck with your coin hunting, and who knows, you might just find that $1 million penny hiding in your collection. Happy collecting! Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins today. we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins from the 1960s and the 1968 Lincoln penny. You might be wondering, what makes this penny so special? Well, believe it or not, some 1968 pennies are worth far more than their face value of 1 cent, and in some rare cases, they can be worth up to $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. In this video, we're going to explore the fascinating history behind the 1968 Lincoln penny, what makes some of these coins so valuable, and how you can identify a penny that could potentially change your life. Let's jump right in. A brief history of the Lincoln penny. To fully understand the value of the 1968 Lincoln penny, we need to take a quick step back in time. The Lincoln cent has a rich history that dates all the way back to 1909. It was introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, and it was the first U.S. coin to feature a portrait of a sitting president. The coin was designed by artist Victor David Brenner and became an iconic part of American currency. The original design featured 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse side of the coin, a design that was known as the wheat cent. This design was used from 1909 until 1958. In 1959, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which lasted for decades, including on the 1968 penny. By the time the 1968 Lincoln penny was minted, the United States was in the middle of a decade marked by social and political change. The 1968 coin, however, didn't stand out for any dramatic design changes. It was still a typical copper penny featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. So, what makes this particular coin so special? The 1968 penny and its rare error, the double-die obverse. While the vast majority of 1968 pennies are worth only their face value, there are some extremely rare exceptions. The 1968 Lincoln penny is particularly valuable if it exhibits an error at the double-die obverse. A double-die error occurs when a coin is struck by a die more than once, but slightly off-center during the second strike. This causes parts of the design to appear doubled, especially in the letters and numbers on the coin. For the 1968 Lincoln penny, the most noticeable doubling happens on the obverse, or front side, of the coin. This is where you will see the word liberty and the phrase "in God we trust" with an obvious doubling effect. The doubling can also be seen in the date 1968, especially on the numbers 6 and 8. The double-die obverse penny is one of the rarest and most highly sought-after error coins among collectors, and this includes the 1968 Lincoln penny. If you happen to find a 1968 penny with this error, it could be worth much more than just 1 cent. They potentially worth up to $1.6 million, depending on its condition and how well the doubling is visible. How to identify a 1968 double-die penny. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare 1968 double-die pennies? The key is to carefully examine the obverse of the coin. The areas you'll want to focus on are the word liberty and the date 1968. The doubling on the 1968 double-die penny is usually most noticeable in the upper parts of the letters in liberty, as well as along the numbers in the year 1968. To get the best view of this doubling, you'll want to use a magnifying glass, jeweler's loupe, or even a high-quality microscope if you have one. With these tools, you'll be able to spot the subtle, and not so subtle, effects of the double-die error. Look for any shadowing or extra thickness on the letters and numbers. If the doubling is visible, you could very well have a highly valuable coin on your hands. The doubling will typically appear as an extra line or shadow on the upper portion of the letters or numbers. For example, you might notice that the L in Liberty appears doubled at the top, or that the numbers in the date 1968 have a faint, extra outline running through them. Why is the 1968 double-die penny worth so much? Now that we know what makes the 1968 double-die penny so special, you're probably wondering why these coins can be worth so much. The main reason is rarity. Coins with this error are extremely hard to find, and even more so when they're in good condition. This makes the 1968 double-die penny highly desirable among coin collectors, which drives up the price. In addition to rarity, the 1968 penny is part of a broader group of rare error coins that are highly valued. The combination of its age, historical significance, and the unique error it carries makes it a must-have for collectors. Plus, when it comes to rare coins, the market is often driven by demand. As more collectors become aware of the value of the 1968 double-die penny, the demand increases, which causes the price to go up even further. As for the $1.6 million price tag, it's not just a theoretical value. There have been specific 1968 double-die pennies that have sold for that amount at auction, particularly when they are in pristine, near-mint condition. These coins are considered to be among the top treasures in the world of numismatics, and the prices they fetch reflect their incredible rarity and desirability. How much is your 1968 double-die penny worth? If you think you've found a 1968 double-die penny, you're probably wondering how much it's worth. Well, the value of these coins depends on several factors, the most important being the condition of the coin. Coins in pristine or uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more than those that have been circulated heavily. The more worn a coin is, the less it's worth. For a 1968 double-die penny in good condition, the value could range from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. However, if the coin is in excellent condition and the doubling is highly visible, it could potentially sell for $100,000 or more. The absolute best examples are those with sharp, clear doubling and no visible wear. It could command up to $1.6 million at auction. The price can vary depending on the buyer and the demand for the coin at the time, but it's clear that finding a 1968 double-die penny in good condition is a huge win for any coin collector or investor. Getting your 1968 double-die penny graded. If you believe you've found a 1968 double-die penny, it's crucial to have it professionally graded to get an accurate assessment of its value. Grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, are the most respected in the industry and can provide a reliable, unbiased evaluation of your coin's authenticity and condition. When you send your coin to a grading service, they will carefully examine the coin, assess its condition on a scale from poor to mint state, and confirm whether it is a genuine double-die error. Once graded, your coin will have a certified value, which is essential for determining how much it's worth in today's market. The value of investing in rare coins. If you're a coin collector or just starting to dip your toes into the world of numismatics, the 1968 double-die penny is a prime example of why rare coins can be a smart investment. Rare coins, especially those with rare types like the double-die penny, tend to increase in value over time, making them not only a fun hobby but also a potentially lucrative one. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual enthusiast, finding a 1968 double-die penny could be your golden ticket to a substantial return on investment. Conclusion. In conclusion, the 1968 Lincoln penny may seem like just another ordinary coin at first glance, but when it comes with the rare double-die obvious error, it can be worth a staggering amount of money, up to $1.6 million in some cases. If you come across a 1968 penny, be sure to inspect it carefully, especially around the word Liberty and the date 1968 for signs of doubling. Remember, the key to finding valuable coins is patience and attention to detail. If you find a 1968 double-die penny, get it professionally graded to discover its true value. Thanks for watching. And be sure to subscribe for more videos on rare coins, valuable finds, and everything you need to know about the fascinating world of numismatics. Good luck on your coin hunting journey. You might just discover your own $1 million penny. Happy collecting!